Alright, so welcome everyone to episode 3 of a little random ass series that I have called The Elden Ring Story Lore. I am Mr. Rumble Roses, and today we're here with the third installment of that little series of mine. And today we're talking about a character that you see before you, and that character is known only as InFALLible, but to others, including myself in a sense, she is known only, well, she's known best as InFALLible the Acolyte. So, let us begin. So, just like, so when it comes to InFALLible, just like Saoirse, she is pretty much a OC character, basically, made by my friend Pagan, also known as Horrormancer, for those that, want to know the username-wise. InFALLible pretty much was made as like a little bit of a fan-made, fun, like a fan-made story type of thing. Fairly non-canonical to something that her and another person by the name of the Inverted Shadow have been doing over on his Twitch. I think it's like with the whole situation of like the saga of a character that belongs to Inverted Shadow himself, known as Unbreakable. Now, when it came to InFALLible, this is just kind of like from stuff that I remember from when I first, kind of technically met Val. Um, I believe she had appeared on a random stream that Unbreakable was hosting on Shadow's channel. Because every now and then, and sometimes when you least expect it, Shadow will sometimes like give Unbreakable control over his channel to where he can go to stream this, that, and the other. But I believe sometimes he might stream things when you least expect it. And I want to say that it might have been a League of Legends stream where we, as in like me and all of people who follow Merge Shadow and all that, where we met um, where we met InFALLible. Now, there was not really much known, I believe, to Foul at the time, other than somehow she knew Unbreakable, and there was like some sort of plan that was going on at the time, because at the time, um, Unbreakable was known to try and take over the Realm of Shadows, and possibly even take over the Grove as well. But, um, but yeah, other than that though, like, we knew pretty much like very little, but we started to slowly but surely get a bit of an understanding of her, I guess. Apparently being the acolyte of Unbreakable, and everything. But as time went on, we learned that basically InFALLible became a thing because of magics that were done to quote unquote create the perfect acolyte for the Apex himself, aka Unbreakable. Um, and at the time, there was like a bit of a, I don't know if I want to say like a two-faced dilemma more than like a two minds dilemma, where it was like two minds shared one body, and often at times they would fight for, and often at times they would kind of like, switch between each other at random, to the point where it's like you never really know exactly who you're gonna get, or who you're gonna pop out or whatever. Um, but we learn, but it's like but I think like we pretty much learned along the way is that um, Saoirse was the one who created the Fallible because um, I believe like because I believe in the story that was going on was Saoirse was the one that stood up to Unbreakable to the point where it seemed as though that he had like a bit of a change, like a change of heart, like like a spark, like he or something like he wanted to he wanted to take care of Saoirse, to become have her and possibly like train her to become perfect acolyte or something like that. And over time, Saoirse had learned you know, various things in and the teachings of Unbreakable and everything, to the point where she somehow was able to create what she thought again was the perfect acolyte for Unbreakable, thus became Infallible. Now, as time went on, um, Unbreakable kind of had like a bit of a change of heart. Not just towards like Saoirse and everything like that, but things kind of like went completely different in a way that he was not really expecting. To where like he met Pei within the Grove back when she was known as Pagan Pixie. He tried to be able to take over the Grove as well and everything like that, but she had some surprises and everything like that to actually say to kind of combat the Apex himself. um, but over time, Unbreakable was starting to see like starting to see things in a whole new light and everything like that, and eventually Unbreakable and Pagan became friends. They became very good friends and everything like that. And it seemed as though that Infallible kind of had kind of gotten enraged because she felt like her apex was stolen from her, and that all that she had, all that they had worked for was pretty much foiled by one being or one druid or something like that, if you will. And I think like somewhere along the lines, like Pei and even Shadow himself, like they tried to be able to like get things under control and everything like that. Um, and then we found out that apparently Infallible had like a deep love kind of thing for the Apex himself. Um, and it kind of sent her crazy in a sense. Like like she she really she really missed Unbreakable. She really she really missed him and didn't know exactly what had happened from like way back when and everything like that. And now like with like this sudden mood change and everything like that, and becoming friends with like with like Shadow and Pei and all that. It's like she seeming like she just lost it and everything. Especially when like she was trying like to confess her love and everything, if you will, to Unbreakable himself. Um, and then like the whole like fight, like fighting for control and fighting build like to get everything settled and and all that. And then I believe I believe things went south whenever Unbreakable and Infallible were kind of forced together to settle their differences while also playing a game together, which was I believe like I can't remember if it was like Bendy and the Egg Machine or if it was the Dark Revival, but I know it was a Bendy game, and but I think it was actually Bendy and the Egg Machine because I'm kind of cause I'm starting to kind of remember now that it was the whole situation where Alice Angel kind of became like the problem, if you will, and like it really just angered InFALLible to the point where it's like, she like it feel like it seemed like there was no stopping her. Like, it seemed as though like she's about to do something that would cause chaos and probably anything bad and like tenfold or whatever. But as time had passed and everything, um, Unbreakable and Shadow had a bit of a get together, and we're trying, we're trying, to work out the whole situation with InFALLible and Saoirse and all that. Because I think like, because I think InFALLible wanted like to be her own being instead of being just like an alternative mind that was trapped in a body that was not even really hers. Even at the cost of possibly, even at the cost of life, in a sense, because I can't remember 100% for sure, so, someone can correct me on this, but I believe it was like the whole situation where, um, Pei had like, the idea of trying to, separate InFALLible and Saoirse at the cost of possibly her life or something like that. I can't really remember, so forgive me if I butchered the shit out of that. But Saoirse came by and she saw that Unbreakable and Shadow were seemingly getting along, and they were talking, and they were both, in agreement to Saoirse trying to finish, the ritual, to perform, what was necessary to have her and InFALLible, be their own beings instead of being, one, like two minds in one body. Um, Saoirse seemingly at first, like, didn't know about if it was a good idea, and also like didn't really know if it was, you know, going to work or not. But with a little encouragement, she gave it her best, and it ended up working. It ended up working to where her and InFALLible had gotten separated with no life taken in the process. Um, and I believe even then, that's when InFALLible and Saoirse had like new looks per se. Take that with a grain of salt, if you will. But um, a little chit chat happened here and there, and I believe um, I'm trying to think. I want to say that Shadow might have brought up the fact that um, he was the one that put Unbreakable and like a prison containment thing and like a containment thing, for years, and pretty much was the one that sealed Unbreakable away and kept him from her and everything. And seemingly that made InFALLible go into a rage. A rage so you know so a rage so chaotic like that she seemingly like she stormed off, and I think it's like pulled away or something like that. And more or less that's kind of where the lore of what I done with this play, and I'd say like from there it's kind of like the lore of what I had done from that little story to how InFALLible came into the lands between. Um, and I believe it was something along the lines of like InFALLible. It's like she was on a quest to hopefully become strong and be able to hopefully take back her apex to uh, to to carry out with the plan that they had that they had the entire time and everything. And and then one little travel led to another, and InFALLible ended up in the lands between, which is pretty much what the which is pretty much what the which pretty much what this realm has often been referred to as. And the one drastic thing about it was that it changed InFALLible completely. Like her whole entire body was like was was different. Like it changed. Some would say like she was like an undead tarnish or something like that. She was like an undead tarnish. Where it's like her body was like her body seemed like it was like old and gray, but not um what's the word I'm looking for? Not decayed and anything like that. Um, and everything like that. But yeah, she that's and she ended up getting caught, but she she quickly learned a thing or two about the lands between and everything that she could within a short amount of time, to the point where she actually managed to escape and get a few little things along the way. Kind of like to help her, like kind of to help defend herself in a sense. Um, but before I continue though, I just kind of want to point it out there that um, there's this little like animation that the Inverted Shadow did where it was called Untying the Knot, and that's pretty much where just the story goes from that, and then kind of drifts off to what I did for like a little fan made story type thing, just like how I did with Saoirse and everything as well. So just putting it out there. But but yeah, basically, um, Saoirse, she was trying to get an understanding of the world of the new world that she had that she had you know come into unexpectedly, and um, she she tried to survive with what little resources and stuff that she had, to the point where she came across an old abandoned church called the Church of El. Church of El is pretty much the location um, that you see before you, pretty much. Um, and I believe that just like just like with Peg, just like with Saoirse and everything like that, I believe near the Grace, which is the thing that you see behind Fallible here, there was a red sign, and not knowing exactly as to what to really do, and having the curiosity take the better of her, and Fallible had touched the sign and got transported to another to another location, another timeline, if you will. Um, and there she met someone that she didn't really know what to make of, but she was given everything that you pretty much see before you right now. Albeit the gauntlets, the gloves, whatever you want to call it, had changed since then. But she was given you know armor, she was given weapons, she was given the realm's currency, which was runes, and she slowly but surely, made herself stronger. She learned the ways of the weapons, which is the weapon that you see right here. It's called the Black Knife. um, and everything. And overall, you know, like she had slowly but surely gotten used to the armor and everything, because the armor that she currently wears is known to silence a lot of actions. So you could be able to run up behind an enemy without them hearing, without aggroing them. You can be able to walk on water without making a sound, you know, and you know, things like that. And InFALLible was loving it. You know, like she was loving, you know, you know, the knives. She was loving, you know, the armor and everything like that. Even though like she's not really used to wearing armor like this, but you know, she could get behind it and everything. And you know, her mission, her goal, you know, pretty much still became clear. Was to try and get the old Apex that she knew and loved back from the clutches of Shadow and even Pang. So, as she went through the lands between and everything like that, she had learned what was known as incantations, aka, you know, spells and abilities to allow her, you know, to be able to use in combat, whether it be like or whether it be like a defensive thing or an offensive thing. Um, and over time, and you know, and like as you know, her journey, you know, through the lands between went through and everything like that, her body has started to change. Mainly, her skin became more human-like, even though she was, like even though like you know her, um, even though her, you know her appearance, you know like her, you know like her new form, you know was, you know hadn't changed, but like you know her skin and everything had changed throughout her journey within the lands between. You know she had gotten skin the normal kind of skin color that you would see a lot of beings have. Um, and she was getting used to her body, her new form, her new body form, you know, really quickly. Like she adapted, like she really adapted to being pretty nimble, like if one would say, um, you know. And even though that she has some hardships along the way of trying, you know, to gain power and everything like that, you know, she persevered. She kept on pushing forward. She still had that same goal that, you know, she was not going to give up on. And through various, you know, defeats of bosses and things like that, InFALLible had learned about, I believe it's called like the Frenzied Three Fingers, that supposedly would give her, you know, the power that she really desires. So along the way, she went to an underground area. She defeated a boss known as Moog, or I think it's like Moog the Omen or something like that. And through some slight, through some tight, you know, platforming and things like that, she managed to make her way down to the very bottom of the place. And when she got to what she thought was the flooring, um, it pretty much gave out on her to where it showed like the actual place that she needed to go. And she ended up, you know, resting at a grace and everything, and you know, she checked her surroundings to see what this place was, but she quickly decided to open the door to find out, what was behind it. And she was told by by an unknown being that in order to truly take the power and everything, she had to pretty much, she had to pretty much um, strip herself down of her armor and everything to where she could be able to fully, grasp the power of the frenzied fingers and everything. And she didn't, and so without really any hesitation, InFALLible actually, you know, did just that. She removed her armor and stuff that she had, her weapons, even her talisman stuff that she had equipped on her, to make her more powerful and everything. And she stepped forward to allow the frenzied three fingers, to embrace her and, give her the power that she desperately wanted and desperately craved. Even if, her body was, even if, there was like, even if her body was, had like severely bad burns, from like the shoulder, chest, lower parts of her area, and even like, the majority of her, around of like, her back and everything like that. But another thing that also had changed was with her eyes. Her eyes had literally, become like what looked like it was engulfed in flames or something like that. Like, like there was legends that would say that if you were to embrace the frenzied fingers, then your sight would pretty much change to the point where you just see the world completely engulfed in flames. But she did not care. She had the power that she wanted, and even to the point where her hair and stuff had changed to, um, to all white. Also having, her, her markings and stuff like that, especially like with her little thing on her face. Um, but in the end, she found the Elden Throne, and it was a tough journey, but she ended up, getting aid from an unknown being, from another universe of that same realm and everything. And she ended up becoming, and they ended up beating not only the final boss, which was, the final human-like boss, which was Radigan, but also had, managed to take down the Elden Beast as well. So, there was that. Um, After the defeat and everything like that, everything seemed to have had settled down, and she had solved she had solved the, she had solved the thing that she needed to hopefully, gain the power, or to the point, like the final, she pretty much saw like something that, the thing that she needed to complete her final step in order to become what was known as the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Um, as she was about to pick up the head as she was about to pick up the head and everything of Radigan, she had let out a long, blood-curdling scream, if you will, and apparently, like her mind had, like something was going on in her mind to where she let out like a blood-curdling scream, and she ended up like passing out on the ground, and then when she came to, she had no head, but her head instead was pretty much like engulfed in the frenzied flame, like her head was like literally the fucking sun or something like that. And she, she embraced it even more. She loved this feeling that, that she felt, and and everything. She found she found true power, more so than what she had learned from Unbreakable. even more so than what she had had possibly learned from Chico, which was I believe like the master of Unbreakable and everything like that. You know, like her. Some would say that the frenzy, like the Lord being, you know, the frenzied flame, the power of the frenzied flame and everything like that, made Chico's power and made Chico's power and teachings and everything seem like Kit's flame. Um, and then everything pretty much engulfed in flames around her. And, you know, and she was just looking at her hands and everything, and just looking at everything around her, and just watching the earth tree pretty much seemingly burn a flame. Even to the point where it seemed as though like the earth tree had gotten split up, had got like a giant split in it, and like the sky had, you know, been like there was like a frenzied flame beam or something like that that went into the sky, and thus InFALLible pretty much became what you see before you and everything right now. And you know, she would not, and she herself, you know, non-canonically, said that she would not change anything. You know, she would say that she wished she had found this power sooner in order to hopefully change, you know, everything that had happened, you know, before, you know, like her apex, you know, you know, had changed his ways and everything. And, you know, with this newfound power and everything, she wanted to really get back to the realm of shadows to seek out revenge on those that took her apex from her, from the likes of Shadow himself, to possibly even Pei. But she seemingly she seemingly seemed to forgive Pei and everything like that, to where it's like, and there was no hard feelings between them, you know. But when it came to Shadow himself, she still had that you know, that rage, that, you know, that spitefulness and everything like that towards him, to the point where, you know, she wanted to, you know, use, you know, her new teachings and then some, you know, to possibly, you know, do harm to the realm of shadows and everything that, you know, Shadow himself had done. Um, but then but then, like, you know, some time had passed, and InFALLible learned a way to possibly get back to the realm of shadows. Although what she did not know was that this was not the exact realm of shadows that, you know, was anticipating. But she had learned that there was a possible way to find a portal that would take her to the actual place that she needed to go, or she wanted to go, you know, in order for her to carry out her plan. So she went to the Moglen Palace Dynasty, where she fought Mohg for the second time, even though this one seemed to be more of the actual Mohg himself, instead of the one that she'd met and encountered and everything in the sewers. Um, she met a woman there by, I believe, it was like by the name of Lada or something like that. You know, forgive me if I'm a little bit on that detail. But she was told to touch the withered arm that came from the giant egg-looking thing that that was in that area, and that she would be transported to the realm of shadow. Not giving it a second thought or anything like that, InFALLible, you know, did just that. She touched the hand, and she got transported to a new realm, to the realm of shadow. Now again, you know, she kind of thought to herself this was the realm of shadows, but this was a place that, but this place was like a side that she didn't really know about. But you know, she didn't really care. You know, she was still determined to hopefully, you know, get back to where, you know, to put her plan into action. And slowly but surely, you know, through the many adventures and many battles and stuff that, you know, she had done, um, she ended up facing the one final obstacle that was in her path, which was the return of Radon, who now became Consort Radon. Um, and she tried her ass off, you know, um, to beat Radon, but this was not the same Radon that she fought in the quote unquote Radon festival back, you know, in the Caelid Castle area that she had remembered before. Even with her even with her ash summon that she had gotten in the form of the Dung Eater, that she pretty much managed to turn into a puppet to have her to have um, to have Dung Eater do Infallible's bidding and everything like that, to fight by her side and everything. It was not enough. You know, like it was not enough to thwart off the attack and everything that Consort Radon had had thanks to Mekala, who was the one who basically brought Radon back from the dead. But but again, Infallible was very, very determined. You know, she was not going to let anything stand in her way, even if she had to summon another being from an alternate timeline, or universe or whatever, to finish her, to finish things off, and she did. And after managing to finally beat Radon, Consort Radon, she made her way to the end of the arena where Consort Radon had pretty much started off at, and even where Mekla herself came through, and what she had hoped for had come true, to where she had she had found the portal that would lead her back into the actual realm of shadows. But ever since ever since the confrontation that she had had with Unbreakable, where she actually managed to, you know, to the point where she actually managed to go through with her little plan of imprisoning Shadow and like in his own mind and everything like that. Like she's been missing for quite some time, but every so often or so, she would try and possibly come back to to the lands between, or the realm, or this realms, or this realm of shadow that that this universe has, to train, to hopefully, to be that, to be to be a silent assassin, if you will. So, so yeah, that pretty much is the story slash lore of Infallible, or Infallible, the Acolyte, if you will. Um, I hope you guys have enjoyed, this little my little rambling and everything like that. Um, I, I didn't know about like doing this kind of thing, for, like any like 1 or 2 episodes, let alone 3, but I just figured I kind of like, just, you know, tell you guys, kind of like, just tell you guys about like, how things came to be was certain characters and stuff that I've made within within Elden Ring and all that, and I would say like overall, like Elden Ring was definitely like the game that inspired, kind of, I guess you could say like Elden Ring was kind of like the game that made me want to do things that I never really did, even with the likes of like Bloodborne or even Dark Souls 3 for that matter. I mean, it's like, having some sort of like, story or lore, for like certain characters and stuff that I made. But but yeah, that's going to be it for this video and everything like that. If you got this far into it, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Or thank you for so much for listening as well. Because I know it's more like a listening thing more than a watch type thing, but I'm pretty sure you get my drift. But until I see you guys in the next video or live stream, as always, take care everybody, and I hope you all have a good week or weekend.